Hey students, it's Nate. I'm back to give you a little bit more information that you'll need as you launch into the course. Hopefully you've already looked at my introduction video so you understand the points for the course and kind of where you need to go, Canvas, to do all your work. A couple of things about week one and the textbook. First off, let me talk about the textbook. And this is all spelled out in the syllabus. I strongly encourage, in fact, I'm asking you to please read the syllabus, and if there's anything that's unclear, check the syllabus before before you send me an email. Most of it's spelled out there. Textbook. Used textbooks are okay for this course. Currently, the publisher is working off of the 15th edition, and that is the edition that I believe is stocked in the bookstore. If you're a financial aid student, that might be where you go to get your textbooks. Um, you don't have to buy the 15th edition textbook. You can go back to the 14th or even the 13th, and those are available online, Amazon or chegg.com or other sources if you want to rent the book. So you don't need to pay full retail at the Grossmont bookstore, which is owned by Barnes & Noble, by the way, to get the textbook. Used editions that are listed in the syllabus are fine. You can't go way back to like the first edition. That's written on like a stone tablet. But the 15th, 14th, and 13th edition are all A-OK. Now, the slides are based off of the 13th edition, since I'm assuming most students are going to buy a used textbook to save themselves some money. And the content is pretty much the same from edition to edition. The only exception is when you get to the final exam, and this is noted on the final, and there's a study guide for the final that's already available if you want to read way ahead. The chapters might be in slightly different order depending on which version of the textbook that you use. The 15th edition is a little bit different than some of the earlier editions. The final exam study guide is written based off the 15th edition. No worries, all the content is in the other editions as well. You just might have to look for them as they might be in a slightly different chapter. Most of it's the same until you get to, I believe, like chapters 12 and beyond. The chapter orders might be slightly different as the publisher added some more chapters to the new edition. How do you find the topics? You go to the subject index at the back of the book and look them up there. This only pertains really most directly to prepping for the final exam. But if you're looking for other terms as you prepare to do written assignments, know that the subject index at the back of the textbook will tell you where to find it, what the specific page, and that relates to what chapter it is on. Which brings me to the textbook. Yes, you do need a textbook. If you're really broke and it ain't no joke, then obviously there's copies on reserve at the reserve desk in the library. You go in from the north end over by the basketball courts, and there's a desk off to the left there where you can ask to borrow the book. Can't take it with you, but you can borrow it for a couple hours to read. Reserve copies, but honestly, you can find used versions for 20 bucks, less than 20 bucks, which I know is still money, but not too expensive. So I do this to try to keep your guys' costs down. I have children who are in college, and I know how expensive textbooks are. So that's the textbook. Okay, so make sure you get the textbook. I'd encourage you to have it by week 2 or 3. If you plan to be a marketing major, you may want to buy it. Otherwise, rent it. Rent it so you have it accessible to you. And there's ebooks as well from the publisher. I personally like a physical book that I can look at and cry over and mark the pages and stuff. So you might be different, but I encourage you to get a used version of the textbook and to have it be a hard copy. I'm assuming, this is a little tip here, I'm assuming you'll have the textbook in front of you when you take the final exam. So the textbook certainly will help you with the final. Okay, enough about the textbook. Week 1. In the very first week of the class, you have a discussion assignment. It's 20 points, as are all the discussions. And you need to complete that one in the first week of class on a Wednesday. So after that assignment, all of your weekly assignments going from week 2 all the way through the semester, they're always due on a Saturday. So I figure got the day off, hopefully, or you might be working, but at least you have up until Saturday to get the assignment done. And you can work ahead on assignments because they're already listed. So if you are a go-getter and you want to work ahead of schedule on the assignments, you can do that. They're all listed. I don't meter them out 1 week at a time, so feel free to jump ahead if you'd like. But they're always due on a Saturday. If for some reason you have a wild weekend and you don't get it done on a Saturday, you can still turn them in on Sunday, late, with a 20% point deduction. You don't want to take that kind of point hit, but if for some reason something comes up, yes, you can still turn them in 1 day late on Sunday, 20% off. After Sunday, poof, the assignments go away, they're closed, and you cannot access them and you cannot submit your work. So the story there is, don't miss assignments. You will definitely hurt your grade if you start missing assignments, because once they're gone, they're gone. The process of me opening up past due assignments and trying to administer them to students is very time consuming. From a Canvas technology issue, there's a lot of click-throughs to open things up, and it really slows my grading down. So the short answer is, I don't accept late work beyond the 1 day extension. And if you miss work, you miss that assignment. Sorry, but that's how it works. There's so much grading work in an online environment that for me to keep up on it, I have to have these hard deadlines. I got a lot of courses to stay on track. So I hope you can understand that. Don't shoot yourself in the foot by missing those assignments. And again, you can work ahead of schedule. So if you know that you're going to be traveling or something's coming up, do that assignment early. That's the beauty of the online environment. Okay, so back to week one. The discussion for week one is just basically you introducing yourself, and also there's a short video answering a few questions, and you want to reply to another student's post. So for each of our discussions, you'll always reply to another student, or two if you want, or more, but you only really need to do one, and respond to one of their answers in their post. And that's called out in each week's discussion assignment, which question I want you to reply to from another student. I use the week one discussions, which are due on a Wednesday, to determine who's active in the class. So if for some reason week one goes by and you haven't logged into the course at all, you're going to get another notice from me saying, "What's up? Are you active in this class? I'm going to drop you." And if after week one and my announcement saying, "What's up?" and I still haven't heard from you in week two, you probably will get dropped. So make sure you do that week one assignment, which is due on a Wednesday, not a Saturday, so I can see who's active in the class. Okay, we talked about the textbook, we talked about late work, and we talked about what you need to do for week one. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.